Palito.
That's awesome.
Indian Culture Then and Now by Jordan
Very
Frederick.
interesting.
And the basket weaving is a big part of the Choctaw.
Yes, and like I told her, a lot of what you might call Choctaw. In English, they call it witch doctors or anything, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there was a abundance of them, and we don't have but a hand, maybe less than a handful now. And what they do is what happened was that a lot of people say that Jehovah God gave us a lot of medicine men, but the medicine men got greedy and they started charging people when they healed them and making money out of them. And so God says, that's not what this is something that a gift that I gave men, and since they got it for free, that they should have helped people for nothing, for the sake of helping them. But since they don't anymore, they say that God took back all the healing powers that the Choctaws had. There was several of them, and they were also inherited. Like if the father had that healing power, then the oldest son would inherit it from them. This is something that wasn't taught. It wasn't taught by the father or anything. It was inherited. And the story goes that the child that inherited healing power, they would be visited by these little, you might call them imps, or little people that live in the woods, and they would come and visit them, and they're little bitty people, so they would take them, and they would take them in the woods, and they would show them what kind of plants that they need. Like for cough, they would show them what kind of plants they need. For fever, what kind of plants they need. For sores, what kind of plants they would use and how they would use them. And then once they taught them all that, they would bring them back home. And
wow.
They would learn from there by using the things that they learned. And when they get older, they would be a healer. And one of the things that they do, my mom used to go to them all the time. Like if they had back pain or headaches or something like that, they take the tip of a bullhorn, and they put a hole on the top, and it's hollow. The bullhorn is hollow.
Mm-hmm.
So what they would do is, like if you had a back pain or something, they would cup their hands. This is from my observation, the things that I saw when I was a child. They would cup their hands, and they would rub their cupped hands around their back, and they would find the place. I don't know how they would know, but they would find a place where your pain is, and they would take a razor blade, and they would make slits on your back. And they would take, very first thing they would do is they would take that, we call it luppish. It is called a horn. It's the horn, the tip of the bull's horn, and they put it on your back, and they suck all the air out of it so it would stick, and they would put something at the tip to block the air from leaving. And then when all the blood would coagulate on the back, then they would take this razor, and they would make slits on it. And then they would put the lapish back on your back, and they would suck all the blood and put something at the tip so the air wouldn't cave, and all the blood would go into that lapish. And then when he would take it out and he would put it in water, and when all the blood comes out, they would look at the blood and tell you what was wrong with you.
Wow.
If somebody caused you to have pain or anything like that, they could tell you. And believe it or not, once they did that, the pain went away.
How about that?
But like I said, there's only, as far I only know of two people that still practice that, and the ones that do practice it, they don't charge you anything unless that's all that what you have that you can give them. But the Indians, they cherish things like tobacco, cedar, and stuff like that. So if you bring them those, they'll it's kind of like payment, not payment, but when you
A good deed for a good deed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like basically a trade.
Yeah, so this the medicine men, you might call them. And like I said, there's only two that I know of.
That's
But
amazing.
That's the way we were told.
Now, the ceremony they have out at the burial ground, what's that for? What is that? What's the significance of that?
The burial grounds is usually just a gathering and ceremony, depending on what day it is, or
Oh, okay. So there's no one specific reason to do it.
They have a ceremony. I think it's usually the 7th of August, I think, and they call it Naniwaya Day, and they all come back over, go back over to the cave side, and they dance, and you know.
Oh, hele kostene che epi mahachi polakat ho hanglo polashki atak.
This is the place they call Mother Earth, and how they decided to live there is that history says that there were two brothers. One was the Chickasaw. His name was Chickasha, they call it, and the other one was Choctaw, the Choctaws. And they would travel. They would travel, and every night they would put a stake on the ground. And in the morning when they woke up, whatever direction the stake, the shadow points from the stick, that's the direction they would travel. And then one morning when they woke up, the shadow was straight up and down, and that was at Naniwaya. So the Choctaw decided to make that their permanent
Wow.
place to live. And then the Chickasaws, the people that followed the Chickasaws, decided that they would move on and not make that there. So the Choctaws stayed right there, and the Chickasaws moved on. That's how they're kind of separated. A lot of the Chickasaw language, a lot of words in the Chickasaw language is the same as Choctaws, but they both had the same language at one time.
Oh.
But like I said, history says that they used to be brothers. And nowadays, a lot of the young Choctaws, they have adopted the religion from the Western Indians, Southwest and Northwestern Indians. Things like sweat lodges and sun dances and stuff, they would out to that.
Oh, okay.
And them sweat lodges and stuff, these don't, I know about them, but they don't even know about them. I told my wife a little bit about them, but
sun dances, I mean, sweat lodges are just a little bitty place where they cover it up real nice so the smoke won't get out.
yeah.
And then they have a fire on the inside, and they heat up this stone.
Volcano.
Yeah, lava.
Lava.
And then they pour water in, and the smoke comes out of it. And all during the time that they're in the sweat lodge, they pray. And the Choctaws, a long time ago, didn't have words like "I'm sorry" or "thank you" or any words like that, because there was no need for them. If you gave somebody something, a present or something, they would hold it up and say "Yake, yake." Yake means look, and everybody would observe. But nowadays they added yakoke, which means thank you now. But we never had words like thank you or excuse me or forgive me. Dresses, there are crosses and a little ball that they have that represents the sick ball.
Okay.
And then we use a lot of diamonds, which represent the rattlesnakes. When people show interest, when non-Indians show interest in the language or the culture or anything about Choctaw, the Choctaw just welcome them.